So we work from the top of the deck down to the ground. So first we got the decking on, now we're going to put the riser board slash fascia board on. That'll fit between the top of our rough framing to the underside of the finished decking. I'm going to space that fascia off the framing, and I've gauged it at 1/4 of an inch. So I just want to check and make sure that my spacers are going to result in 3/4 of an inch when I put this fascia board on. So I'm just going to test this spot here. And we have a little bit of variability. We could be anywhere from 1/2 inch to 3/4, but the closer to 3/4 we are, the better. And we are dead on 3/4. I'm going to put one basically next to each of the joists that are opposite here. This spacer is not only going to allow the water to drain behind the fascia board that may weep underneath here, it's also going to space the fascia board off of our screw heads and our metal straps. In addition to giving us that airspace and clearing all of the hardware that's underneath, we can also use these spacers to micro adjust how far the fascia board is standing off of the framing. So we've cut different thickness spacers. You saw the 1/4 of an inch ones, then we have some 5/8 inch one, which are just some scrap pieces of the fascia board that we're using. It's non-structural, so this is perfectly fine to use. So I'm going to mark this for our outside miter. This will be the short point. Okay, now we're ready to fasten. We'll start at the corner, that way we'll lock this in and then we'll work our way down. So we're going to use the Trex Hideaway fascia screws. You can see they have a broad shoulder on them, large head. We're going to start a countersink with this tool that comes with the kit, and then we'll drive these into the holes with a fascia depth setting tool. We'll finish the whole thing off with plugs that are color matched to the fascia board. And we'll plug these after we get everything installed. We position these spacers at 16 inches on center or less. I did that because the Trex installation instructions call for their fascia fasteners to be no more than 18 inches apart. So we'll be within tolerance. So we finished up the top of the deck and our first riser board. We've gone ahead and pre-cut our riser boards and our deck boards that are being used as treads. The inner tread board is a grooved board. That will be clipped in with a hidden fastener that goes up against the riser board. The outer board, because we want the front edge to be a square edge board so it looks nice and clean, in order to use the hidden fasteners, the Hideaways, we had to groove the board. We did that with a router, so now we've got all of our slots prepped. Before we can put them in, we first have to put in the plugs in the lower row, because otherwise it'll be too close to the top of the tread board in order to get the hammer to tap it in. So we're going to match the grain as best we can, tap those plugs in, and then once we're done that, we'll set our hidden fasteners to receive that first groove deck board for the tread and our final board. You might notice that the bottom riser board is much taller than the other two. The reason for that is we left a full width board and just tack screwed it on so the owner can scribe it to a finished patio later on, giving him the opportunity to dial it in so it looks perfect. So the last thing we have to do is put in plugs on the deck boards, on the riser boards, and we got to remember, Addison, no plugs on this board.